Hello and welcome to WitnessUp.com, where we use scripture, news, and trending topics, along with music and movie clips, to prove God's existence and expose the enemy. Whether you acknowledge yourself as God's child or not, our prayer is to get you closer to God in the most entertaining way as possible. If this is your first time watching, please watch our video named Stoplight before you continue. And if you have already visited the channel or site, please make sure to share, like, and subscribe to WitnessUp.com. Welcome to today's show and God bless.
Fellas, you think we could listen to the radio or something?
Radio? Who needs a radio? Ready, Harry? Mock.
Yeah!
Ing.
Yeah!
Bird.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah!
Mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard?
Have you heard?
She's gonna buy me a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, she's gonna buy me a diamond ring. And if that diamond ring don't shine.
Hey, Lloyd, look, there's some people who want to ride too.
Pick 'em up.
I'm skeptical of the claim.
I'm skeptical.
You work hard for what you want in life. That your word is your bond. That you do what you say you're going to do. That you treat people with respect. That is a lesson that I continue to pass along to our son. And we need to pass those lessons on to the many generations to follow.
Guided by these values and to pass them on to the next generation
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievement is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
You know, we've had 3 years now of Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell. And it was exactly 3 years ago tonight that Mitch McConnell tried to pitch me off the Senate floor for reading a statement from Coretta Scott King to try to stop a racist from being nominated. Said the words that women have put on T-shirts, have embroidered on pillows, and have had tattooed on their bodies. Nevertheless, she persisted.
Well, if you filled up your gas tank lately, then you don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you that gas prices are back on the rise.
You don't need us to tell you gas prices are on the rise. I know.
It's okay. You can admit it. If you've bought an item or 2 or maybe 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it. If you've bought maybe an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
Is it okay? You can admit it. If you've bought an item or 2 or 3 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for you.
It's okay. You can admit it.
If you've bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it. If you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10. Say for yourself.
It's okay. Admit it if you bought an item or 2 or 10 for yourself.
It's okay. You can admit it if you bought yourself 1 or 2 or 10 things for yourself, because a lot of people do it.
are mindless blank slates.
We are mindless blank slates.
You have no purpose.
We have no purpose.
Until right now.
Until right now.
Congratulations. You 5 souls have been chosen to stay.
You 5 souls.
Stop it. Don't repeat that part. Stop it.
Don't repeat that part. Stop it.
You have been selected to be members of an exclusive secret organization whose only purpose is to prevent souls from going to the dumb planet known as Earth. Does our unstoppable gang have a really cool name? Yes, it does. We shall be known as the Apocalypse.
% of the worldwide population thinks that man has never been on the moon.
Well, yeah, there are all kind of conspiracy theories out there. Well, I guess you need...
That's weird. Terry Two Toes is dead.
Anyone else think it's also weird that Terry Two Toes shot himself in jail with no access to a gun and the security tape went missing?
Ah, what are you, some kind of conspiracy nut? Next you'll tell me that you're one of those round earthers. You heard Shaq. The world is...
Ugh. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. Oswald, yeah, Oswald. That's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? You think you're living in a free country? You think this is a democracy? Of course it's not. I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those 3 little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know?
That was University of Wisconsin professor Kevin Barrett, who has recently drawn criticism for plans to teach an Islamic studies course next fall that will incorporate conspiracy theories.
I think it's really important to cover these contemporary political issues, and one of them is, of course, the so-called war on terror. Now, the fact is that the great majority of the world's Muslims believe that 9/11 was an inside job. I am convinced that 9/11 was, in fact, an inside job. I'm interested in training people how to use critical thinking skills and come to their own conclusions.
Do you believe personally that these are inside jobs, yes or no?
I don't believe. I know that 9/11 was an inside job.
The evidence is overwhelming to you because you're a conspiracy nut, but...
Engage in theater, and it's what they do, it's spycraft, to create spectacles and events that people may not realize are spectacles and events, infiltrate protesters, they'll create fake newspapers, and so on. As a journalist, to say these words, I can't tell you with what a heavy heart I say them, this kind of reflexive vilification of conspiracy theorist, right?
Conspiracy. Many Americans still use that word when talking about the assassination of President Kennedy 55 years ago this past Thursday. And while we're talking conspiracy, what about the moon? Did we really land there? There are plenty who think not. So why, after all these years, do all these conspiracy theories persist? Our cover story is reported by Susan Spencer.
Spy novelist Gail Lynds has made an entire career out of conspiracies.
How many conspiracies do you think you've dreamed up in your lifetime?
Oh, a couple hundred.
Look at all the conspiracies we have just right here.
Her office at home near Portland, Maine, is a breeding ground for conspiracies.
The CIA is overflowing, as you can see.
Its shelves filled to bursting with evil secrets and nefarious plots.
Military technology, special ops, war tactics, strategy. Wow. Do you have any trouble coming up with these things?
No, I don't. I actually...
Some people might say, what's wrong with you?
Her espionage novels have sold millions of copies. And they all start with one unbreakable rule.
Hope you enjoy.
Yes. The conspiracy has to be believable. That's not hard.
In fact, there are and have been genuine conspiracies.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
There's Watergate. There's Iran-Contra.
They're wonderful to write about.
And read and talk about. We look for conspiracies everywhere. According to a recent CBS News poll, more than half of Americans still believe there was an official cover-up connected to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Roughly 1 in 3 say the government is hiding the truth about 9/11, and 1 in 10 thinks the moon landings were faked.
So if you want to know how important conspiracy theories are to people, just bring up a few next time you have Thanksgiving dinner with your family.
Mock, yeah. Ing, yeah. Bird, yeah. 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 Mockingbird, don't everybody have you heard?
Have you heard?
She's gonna buy me a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, she's gonna buy me a diamond ring.